Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to Berlin once again, and we're going to revisit a brewery that you only saw me review for the first time very recently. So we're going to go back to Kreuzberg in Berlin and we're having a taste of another beer from Heidenpeters. So we're going to have a look at their New England IPA this time. This one comes in at 7% ABV and it's actually fairly highly rated. On Rate Beer this one got an 82 overall. So should be, yeah, really interesting beer, this one. And if I remember correctly, I think this is actually the first New England type IPA that I've reviewed from Germany, so it will be very interesting. I have tried one from Austria, but never from Germany. Most of the IPAs that I've had from Germany so far have been the more West Coast style, so very curious about this one, I have to say. But the last beer I tried from Heidenpeters, the Thirsty Lady, was really quite interesting. Not what I expected, I have to say, but a very interesting beer nonetheless, so very curious to see what they'll throw up with this one. So looking forward to trying this one, and as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Heidenpeters before. Hopefully I can review more from them in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the German beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Heidenpeters then. So as I've mentioned to you before, Heidenpeters was founded by Johannes Heidenpeter, who apparently is known as the brewer with the cap, because he's very often seen with this almost little golf cap on, and he actually bought this hat from a woman in the Winterfeldmarkt in Berlin-Schönberg who made caps out of old flour sacks, and it kind of reflects his career as an artist actually, because before he brewed, Johannes was a visual artist, and a lot of his work was apparently based on collages and things. He liked to pick up stuff in the streets and make artwork out of it, but he graduated from the Kunsthochschule in Berlin. I always wanted to say Högskola, as we would say in Swedish, but yeah, he graduated from the Kunsthochschule in Berlin, so quite a well-known artist, and he does still work a day job in a gallery apparently, and just does the beer as a kind of hobby business, I guess you would say, but the beers are quite highly rated. But yeah, apparently he tried a porter from the Norge Organic Brewery in Bremen, and this really just blew him away and got him very interested in the idea of craft beer. So within an hour or so he bought a book online, and then he decided that he was actually going to start brewing his own beer. But his friends tried the beer that he was producing and they gave him very positive feedback, and so then he decided that he wanted to start up his own brewery, which he eventually did in Markthalle 9 in Kreuzberg in Berlin, which is a really well-known sort of bio-organic food sort of thing. It's called Beta Esser or something like that. It's this project basically trying to get people to eat local foods and things like that. But with 10,000 euros that he borrowed from his friends, he set up a small brewery in the basement of this market hall, and he brews somewhere between 1,200 to 1,500 of litres per beer per month, and he sells the beer in the market. He's got a little market stall there, and he also sells it through other beer stores and things in Berlin. So yeah, really interesting little brewery, this one, and it is cool to see more and more little new kind of American style craft breweries popping up in Germany, and the quality of these American style beers that they're producing here now is very good. Obviously in Germany you have brewers that are, you know, exceptionally highly trained, and you know, it's cool to see them trying these American styles of beer, because they do throw up some very interesting things, I have to say. The quality of the beers that I've tried from some of these different breweries have been very good, and Heidenpeters, of course, one of the new little guys in Berlin who are on the market. So yeah, if you get the chance to try some of their beers, have a go at it, because they do some interesting stuff. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook, of course, as well, and you can, you know, Instagram's the other one. You can keep up to date with all the different beers and things that they've done. But they are quite a prolific brewery. They have produced somewhere around I think it was around 100 beers or so were listed on Rate Beer and Untappd. So yeah, for a brewery that is fairly small, they are pretty prolific, I have to say. But yeah, let's let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself then. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open up. There you can see, nicely presented this one. You can see there's the Heidenpeters symbol there. That's also on the bottle cap as well. But this New England IPA, it comes in at 7% ABV, and this is one of the other things that it says on the side here. It's brewed in accordance with the Natürlichkeitsgebot. So I'm not sure if that is actually I'm guessing it's got a number under it, so it probably is a real thing. I'm not certain about that. But yeah, it should be very, very interesting beer, this one. Curious to see how this guy turns out. So without further ado then, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting. My first, if I'm remembering correctly, my first German New England style IPA. So yeah, if we can get this guy out, there we go. So yeah, oh, you can smell some of the lovely fruits coming off this one. I think this is going to be a really nice beer actually. Wondering if that's mosaic that's coming out of the aroma there, because it's got a nice orangey but blueberry note coming from it. Yeah. So yeah, that's poured pretty much exactly as you would expect from a New England IPA. It does actually look very, very hazy and very juicy. Just look at that. Nice bright sort of yellowy orange colour. There's a solid finger and a half of a frothy, I would say cream coloured head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of that head. But overall, you know, it does look really quite nice actually. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma and see how we get on with this one. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer is completely opaque. There's not a lot to this one. There's not a lot of light coming through that beer at all actually. But yeah, let's take a look at the aroma then. Oh yeah, I think with this beer, I've got a feeling that's mosaic in there. Yeah, you've got a big orangey tangerine note from this one, but it's also got a bit of blueberry. It's got a nice tropical note to it. There might be a little bit of Simcoe or Galaxy or something like that in there as well. I think there's a wee touch of passion fruit to that. There's maybe a passion fruit or a mango. It could be something like Simcoe or Galaxy, or it might just be a little bit of Citra. But the one that's really sticking out for me, I think there's mosaic in here, because it's got that lovely juicy tangerine orange note to it, but it's also got a little bit of the blueberry, and those are the two telltale fruits I find of mosaic. It's got a lovely aroma to it, this beer. Yeah, underneath that, of course, you can smell it's got a little bit of the oaty creaminess that you expect. You can really get that oaty quality out of this beer. It has a nice almost very slightly biscuity note to it, some white bready quality, oaty creaminess, everything you'd expect. On the floral kind of grassy side of things of the hops, little touch of floral quality in there, but mainly a little bit grassy. The other hop that they might well be using in this is Mandarina Bavaria, because that also gives you a nice orangey quality, and at the same time, the German noble hops, they always give you this lovely light grassy quality, and I think that would be a very interesting thing to do actually, is to use Mandarina Bavaria in a New England IPA. I think that would be a very, very interesting thing to try actually. But yeah, it has pretty much everything you would expect in terms of aroma from a New England IPA. So yeah, if you get this beer, have a smell of it, because it does smell very, very nice, and it looks very, very hazy. There's a lot of New England IPAs these days aren't quite as hazy as this one, but I'm very curious and very excited to have a go at this beer. So let's try it then. So this one is the New England IPA, coming in at 7% ABV from Heidenpeters Brewery in Markthalle 9 in Kreuzberg in Berlin. Let's get stuck in. Slange, Skål, Prost. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I always like this when you go to different countries, and you know, the beers always have this kind of certain feel to them. Like when I went to the Czech Republic, their IPAs and stuff that they were producing, they still had that you know, that sort of Czech bready malt base to them, and I really liked that about the American style IPAs that the Czechs were producing, because it still had a little bit of that thing in there. Yes, I'm a Czech beer. This one, to me, it still has that German smoothness to it. And I've always commented that one of my favourite German beer styles is the Helles, and I love the kind of the smooth bready quality that you get from that when you get the Munich malts and things like that. Just the smoothness that you get out of it. And this beer, it's interesting because it's got everything you'd expect from the New England IPA, but then for me, it just has that German Brauhaus smoothness to it, and I like when you get little things like that in the beers. So yeah, I'll give a thumbs up to Heidenpeters for this one. This is nice. So easy to drink that as well. That's one of the things with these New England IPAs. They are, in a way, they're kind of ridiculous because they're just, you know, 7% ABV. You can drink it like that, easy. So yeah, let's try and break this one down a little bit then. So middle of your palate, obviously this is where your malty flavours are coming out. You've got a nice sort of bready, pale malty base there. That just blankets the middle of your palate. On top of that, you have a nice, slightly thicker kind of creamy oaty note coming out of the beer, and right in the centre of the palate I'm finding there's a little touch of just a very slight biscuity malt to this one, but I think they're using, there's a good bit of German pale malt gone into the base of this beer. You can really pick up that German smoothness. I wouldn't be surprised if they've used a little bit of Munich malt in there as well. But from what I gather, there is a bit of rivalry between the Berlin brewers and the Munich brewers. The Munich brewers are very traditionalist, if that makes sense, or at least that was the sense I got from one of the beer shop owners that I visited in Munich. But yeah, it's really interesting that I like how this beer has that little thing about it. I am a German beer. So yeah, it's got that lovely smoothness to it. As I say, it's nothing really, this beer doesn't have anything that's overly surprising about the New England style, apart from that little bit of German smoothness to it. It's one of these beers that I guess, again, it's fairly sort of simple in its concept, but it does what it does pretty well. I think that's my take on this one, at least. So yeah, malt base is pretty much what you'd expect. So onto the hoppy side of things then. Back corners of the palate, little tiny bit of earthiness in there. Again, this makes me wonder if it's mosaic in here, because you have got that little bit of earthiness. And as you come further forward, it just smooths out a little bit of a spice, almost slightly spicy floral aromatic note in the front corners of the palate. Then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and grassy. And as you go behind the front curve of the palate there, you get that nice little oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters start to come out of the beer. And for me, this one, I think there's a little touch of a passion fruit in there. So I'm wondering if there's something like Simcoe or Galaxy in there. I'd probably be more leaning towards Galaxy, because I've always found Simcoe is very straight up in terms of its passion fruit flavour. I might be talking rubbish right enough, but when I don't know the hops in an IPA, I always find it interesting to try and guess. So I think there's a little touch of passion fruit in there, not all that much right enough, but very, very slight passion fruit. Mainly the fruits in this beer I think are orangey, tangerine sort of things. I do think there's mosaic in this one, because mainly it's a nice orangey, tangerine note that you're getting out of this beer. As I say, there could be a little bit of Mandarina Bavaria in there as well, actually, which again gives you a sort of nice orangey flavour. But right at the tip of the tongue, I think there's a little bit of blueberry, and that's one of the telltale signs of mosaic. Yeah. I'm curious about that as well, because the one thing I commented on with the Thirsty Lady, when I tried that from these guys, it had this almost like lemony, soury presence to it, and there's a wee touch of that there around the kind of front part of your tongue as well. You just get this almost very slight lemon sherbet kind of sharpness. It reminds me like Lactobacillus Brettanomyces kind of thing. It's just got a little tiny touch of that in this beer, that lemony sherbet sharpness. But I think a little bit of blueberry on the front part of the palate, and then you've got that nice orangey tangerine note, and I think a little bit of passion fruit or something in there as well. There could be almost a little bit of an apricot-y flavour to this one. As you go further into the aftertaste, the beer mellows out a little bit, and there could be a little bit of an apricot-y, or maybe even a little bit of a peachy flavour or something like that in this beer. But overall, in terms of flavouring things, it's really nice, and I like the smoothness that this one has. I really do like that about it. It's got this almost typical German Brauhaus smoothness to it, and as I say, that's something I always find really cool when you try like beer styles that come from somewhere else, brewed in certain countries. You know, you always get these little local niches about them. That you get the German smoothness, you get the Czech breadiness, and all of this kind of thing. But yeah, really quite nice beer, this one. So I'll give a thumbs up to Heidenpeters for this. It's a really nice New England IPA, very, very smooth. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say mid-bodied in this one. With the New England style, it's interesting, this one, because it's quite, I find this one just a little bit thicker than some of the ones that I've had from the likes of Trillium and all of this, and I think that's just the malts, the German malts that they've put in this one. It just feels a little bit thicker. I'd be interested to know what yeast they've used in this one, if it's like a Lallemand or something like that, if they've used like a yeast from over in America, or one from London, or one of the Cloudwater yeasts or something like that. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how this beer goes together. Overall, the mouthfeel is very, very smooth. It's got a good bit of creaminess in there as well. The smoothness and the creaminess complement each other. Carbonation, very, very smooth. Nice little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one, but I would guess it's a small IBU. It must be about 25, around that kind of area in terms of IBUs, so not the most bitter beer you're going to come across. A lot of juicy fruitiness to it though, and as I say, the malt base is very well balanced in terms of smoothness and things like that. So yeah, have a taste of this beer for yourself and see what you think. But in terms of a New England IPA, I think they've done a solid job on this. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So this one was the New England IPA at 7% ABV from Heidenpeters Brewery in Markenhall 9 in Berlin, in Kreuzberg in Berlin. So have a go at it for yourself and see what you think. But yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Heidenpeters as well, and do let me know some other craft breweries around Berlin that I should be checking out. But once again, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Slàinte, skål, prost.